Hello, I'm Dr. Cory Fawcett. Has debt got you down? You know, debt is a bigger stressor in our lives than we realize. And I think it's because as physicians and other doctors, we spend so much time in debt during our training that we just become numb to that. Debt becomes nothing. It just becomes a way of life, and we forget about it. And we don't realize how big a stress that is putting on our lives. I didn't realize how big debt stress was on me until I made my final house payment, when I completely got out of debt and I felt a great weight lift from my shoulders that I didn't even know existed. I didn't realize the debt was causing such a stress in my life until the debt was finally gone. I was over $500,000 in debt at the time I decided that it was time to eliminate this and get out of debt for good. It took a little under 6 years for me to do that, but once it was accomplished, I've never gone back since. And you know, I've never found somebody who regretted having paid off their house. A lot of people talk about that. You should keep that house payment. You know, it's a good tax write-off. There's other reasons that they want to keep their house payment. But of the people who've decided to pay off their house, none of them have regretted it. And like me, I haven't found one who wished he was still in debt. In the early 2000s, I attended a meeting about stress. And each doctor in the room was asked, what are they doing to handle stress in their life? And I heard a lot of the standard answers, you know, a phantom patient in the middle of the day to give himself a breather, deep breathing, there was meditation, lots of answers. But when it came around to me, and this had happened shortly after I became debt-free, I said to everybody, well, I paid off all my debt and eliminated a lot of stress in my life. And when I said that, you could have heard a pin drop. Everybody in the room looked at me like I was from Mars. Paid off your debt? Who does that? How's that even possible? This was in the early 2000s when getting out of debt wasn't fashionable yet. Today, a lot of people are talking about it. But back then, it was kind of strange. During the break after that meeting, somebody came up to me and said, well, if you're so rich, why don't you just retire? Well, I was a young doctor at the time, and he was an older doctor, and I think he resented the fact that I was out of debt and he wasn't. But I didn't say I was rich. I said I paid off my debt. They aren't the same thing. But in his mind, he felt only the super rich could pay off your debts. In fact, a fellow doctor in my hometown told me later on, after he heard my story about how I got out of debt, when he heard I got out of debt, he thought maybe I had inherited a bunch of money and that was how I got out of debt, because that's really the only way somebody could do it. So he thought. I challenge you to go home today and think about this issue. How is the stress of debt affecting your life? I bet your spouse, if you're married, will have some answers about this as well. In fact, most spouses of doctors are way more stressed about the debt than the doctor is themselves. Because the spouse can't earn your kind of income and is a little concerned about what would happen if you weren't there to produce. It is possible for doctors to get out of debt, even with our large debt load. It is possible to live debt-free. I know because I've done it myself, and I've been debt-free since 2001, and I'm never going back. My prescription for you today is to begin to relieve your stress by removing your debt starting today. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends. And don't forget to click subscribe at the bottom of the page here so that you won't miss any of my future videos. Leave me a comment if there's a topic you'd like me to discuss, and get more information at drcorysfawcett.com. Thanks for joining me today, and get out of debt soon.